Hi, my name is Claire and I really like to knit. Today I'm going to show you a new project, a new alterations project that I just finished, and that is this beautiful jumper here. I made this a few years ago. It was a circular yoke jumper. It was a kit from Kit Couture. It's called the Disko Pullover. And I just really like the pattern, so I bought the kit and I made it quite a few years ago, but it was so big. As you can see from the insert video here, it was the yoke was so big, the body was so big, and it just didn't look right. And I never wore it. It was such a shame. I mean, Mum took it for a while thinking that she'll wear it, but again, she never did either because again, the yoke is just too big for us. I decided I'm going to do some sweater surgery and alter the jumper to fit me better. I did think about this quite a few times over the years, and Mum always said, don't try it, it sounds scary. And then last week I put it on Instagram and 75% of you said, yes, do it. So I've done it. Now I've recorded each of the steps while I was doing it. I did this last Sunday and today's Saturday, following Saturday. So I did it last week and I did record every step. So if you're interested to know how I steeked this circular yoke jumper into a raglan shape and to make it fit much better, please keep watching. So here I am. I've got these knitwear pins and I'm going to start pinning some of the bulk from this jumper. I'm starting at the front yoke and I'm just pinching all this extra fabric and putting some pins in it. This will hopefully give me an idea on how many centimeters I need to take out of the yoke. I'm going to make 4 seams, 2 in the front and 2 in the back. So they will look like a raglan instead of a round circular yoke. And yeah, it's quite a bit of fabric, isn't it? Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. The sleeves are a little bit big, but definitely the bust and the rest of the body is quite big. So I'm going to put some pins in there as well. I want a little bit of positive ease, but not as much as there is now. And also I want to make the whole thing look a little bit more proportional on me. So we used to have a family business over 20 years. It was a tailoring and alterations business and I was in it for 13 years and we just sold it last year. And I always tell people, no, don't pin garments on yourself. Let us do it because it's too hard to pin it on yourself. And here I am trying to pin the garment on myself. And yeah, it's not easy, but I think having the tailoring experience, it definitely helped me to recognize the opportunity to alter this jumper. And I think it's going to work out. What do you think? Here you can see the original pattern card. I bought this quite a few years ago before I became more experienced in figuring out my size and what kind of ease I like, how I like my jumpers to fit. So when I had a look at this card just now, it said 97 centimeters bust and my bust is about 80, 82. No wonder it was so big. And I think back then I just chose a smaller size and started knitting without thinking about it too much, thinking it's an oversized jumper. But I've got very sloped shoulders and I have no bust. So oversized jumpers on a circular yoke just doesn't work on me. I just don't have anything to hold it up. So here I'm measuring how much I had actually pinned. The finished size will be 88 centimeters bust circumference, which will give me a little bit of positive ease. And I'm taking out about 4 centimeters double on each side. So that's for 16 centimeters in total. And I'm measuring the sleeve as well. Sleeve I'm only going to do a little bit. I think I'll do about 1 centimeter double, so 2 centimeters. And I'm trying to draw it out just to give you a quick overview and to help myself plan. In the yoke area, I'm going to be taking out 5 centimeters on each seam. It's quite a bit. Yeah, and I drew like a little eye shape, see the oval shape. In the end, I didn't do oval shape. I took it all the way to the top of the neck. Initially, I thought I won't do the neck, but I did in the end. But you can see it is 5 centimeters, mostly in the middle of the yoke. And now I'm going to taper it to nothing to the solid blue section. So measuring the pattern, 5 centimeters is just over 4 vertical stripes. So I think I'll just do 4 vertical stripes on each side because that will give me more of a seamless finish. I decided before I start, I'm going to tack them in place first and then try it on just to make sure it fits properly. So I'm going to mark it out and then I'm going to use the tacking thread and tack everything that I want to stick out. But firstly, I've got my iron off pen. So there's a tailoring pen. It's a felt pen, which with ironing comes off. It's pretty dry, so I wasn't doing too much. But that will help me when I am doing the sewing. I'm going to use a yellow thread because that's going to be a bit more obvious when I'm sewing. And I'm doing a basting stitch, which is quite loose. It holds the fabric together and it's very easy to take out. So usually with tailoring, custom-made suiting, bespoke style, they baste the fabrics together first and then try it on the customer before sewing it all together. So here I am basting. And I'll baste the yoke here as well. I'm realizing I cannot see the lines on the basting side. So if I baste from this side, the front side may not line up properly. Okay, I have done all of my basting from the wrong side, just roughly, very roughly, done the side seams and the 4 yokes. So let's try it on. I think that's pretty good. It's still a little bit loose, but yeah, I think it works. You can't even tell that I've changed it into raglan, can you? And that is just a loose basting stitch. So now next step, I'm ready to start sewing. This is looking a little bit wonky. So I think what I'm going to do, and I can't really see the pattern from the wrong side. So what I'm going to do now is from the right side, use a yellow thread to mark out exactly where to sew, making sure there's more thread visible on the inside. And then when I turn it around, I can just follow it as a marked out stitch line. Yeah, but this is looking fantastic. I think it's gonna work. Oh, luckily I did find a little bit of the blue leftover yarn to sew the side seams together, but there's only this much, so hopefully that will be enough. I think I'll just use a different yarn to do the yoke, but I will use the blue to do the side seams. I'm using a back stitch to sew the side seams together following my basting stitch.
But when I turned it over, I realized it wasn't very straight. My back stitch is not very straight. What am I going to do? Okay, in the end, I decided to start over. I'm going to do a mattress stitch from the right side because then it'll help me to make sure that everything's lined up correctly and the seam is straight. Yeah, mattress stitch is the way to go.
I have done both side seams, one side seam, two side seam. Ended up doing mattress stitch because I think it'll work a bit better. It's a bit straighter because I can see where the line was, but when I was doing back stitch, I couldn't sew straight. It was really weird. Look, the front piece and back piece were done completely separately. I don't remember doing this because it was years ago, but yeah, that is a really weird way to finish a round yoke sweater, isn't it? Okay, now it is time to do the darts here. Wish me luck. Changed my mind. I stick them here, which looked okay when I was pulling it, when I was wearing it, but I think these two darts are very close to the center. What I should have done, which would have looked nicer, is do these ones here. I should have staked it or made the dart along the armhole. I think that would give it a better raglan look. Yeah, so I'm going to undo this one and then move it over so it lines up with armhole, and the bottom of the dart may look nicer as well. Still don't know if I'm going to do the back. Should I do the back? Okay, I've just finished sewing the two front darts again, and I've moved them to line up with the armhole. Can you even see it? Looks so good. You can't see it, right? You can see it from this side. That's the inside. So I think afterwards I'm gonna try it on, make sure it all fits before I stick this. I'm gonna cut it and then lay it nice and flat. Same with the side seams. I could unpick it, but I don't think I will because it's big enough. So I'm just gonna cut it and stick that as well. That's the side seams inside. Ah, dude. So now I'm gonna do the back. Oops. I'm going to just pull out these yellow lines and I'm going to make new darts that line up with the armhole. It's going to look great. I think it's going well.
Okay, all the seams are done. These are the final seams that I have put in. You can see the yoke is much smaller and the side seams are much smaller. It still has a slight positive ease and it fits so much better. There is definitely a lot of bulk here currently in the seams. So my next step will be to cut it off and stick it and make sure it all lays flat. So here I was contemplating, do I flatten the side seams or do I just lock it together into one seam because I'm lazy? It takes half the time if I just put the two seams together and do almost like an overlock stitch, and it'll take twice as long if I flatten it. And because I am a lazy person, I decided to sew the seams together. Okay, I went out for a few hours and now I'm back. So I went to Labels on the Lawn. It is a second-hand designer clothing sale to raise money for Women's Legal Service. And I've been there a few times and I've bought so many clothes. The last time I had been a couple of months ago. And today I bought another 19. Don't judge me, it's for a good cause. Most of the things I bought still have tags on them and the tag says things like $700. So anyway, I have finished sewing down the both sides. This side I have done a really lovely split seam. So I opened up the seam and then sewed it down the two sides, which looks really nice. This was the first side I did, and I did that as a locking stitch, so it's a lot more bulky. I'm going to try it on and see if this is too obvious. If it is, I'm going to have to unpick this and redo it and do it the same as the other side where it's nice and flat. And I'm going to have to unpick carefully because that's the only blue I have left. So I'm going to need this yarn to do that side seam sewing. This side is the flat side seam. Looks nice, yeah. And this side is a locked seam. I think it looks the same. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to bother unpicking it. Oh, it's a bit bumpy there. Have to iron that out. But you know, it looks the same because it's still quite positive ease. There's quite a bit of positive ease. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to unpick it for now at least. I'm just going to keep going and start working on sticking or getting rid of the bulk here. And yeah, that's all those clothes that I bought. Time to stick the 4 darts. It's a little bit scary. I'm not going to cut it all the way through, so I'm only cutting open the middle part where there is the most fabric, and the top and bottom I'm leaving still intact, and I'll just push it to one side because yeah, there's not a lot of seam allowance, and I definitely do not want it to come apart, guy. Yeah, a little bit scary. Next, I'm going to sew down that top. So where I'm now, that's the neck. I'm going to sew the neck all the way down. Make sure it's really nice and flat. It's only about 1 centimeter double. It's a little bit thick, but definitely not enough to cut open. So I just sew that down flat, and then I will sew down the 2 seam allowances. I didn't pick up every row because I think this wool is sticky enough. It is toothy enough to just felt over time, and it wasn't coming apart at all as I was handling it. So I didn't pick up every row. I think it'll be fine. It's done. Time to give it a really good steam to make sure all the seams lay flat. Now try not to let the iron rest on the fabric. I just let the steam kind of hover the iron over it, and I let the steam wash over the fabric, and then I pat it down to make it flat. That is something that my mom taught me. She said just sweep the steam over the top and give it a good pat, 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 and it'll lay nice and flat. And here is my first try on after it's completely finished. It looks fantastic. It fits so well. Now my left armhole, the dart wasn't very nice, so I did go back and fix it. But yeah, check it out. Completely resized.
So yes, ta-da! This is the finished result. Now I can probably make the neckline here a little bit more tidy because close up you can see that this doesn't line up very well. So when Mum comes back from Europe, she will definitely come in and try and fix this for me. However, you can see because I took out 4 exact panels, blue, white, and then I lined it up, you can't even tell it's being altered here, right here. If you feel it, you can feel, yes, there's a bit of bulk right there, and this is where the raglan is, and then it lines straight down to the armhole. The top, it was only a little bit because we do increases in every section. So here there was only a tiny little bit. Again, still 4 stripes. Under the armhole, I just sticked it to nothing to about here. So the middle of the armhole is still flat. Well, it's not flat because I actually stick the middle seam as well. Normally in a circular knit jumper, if it doesn't fit well, a lot of people will go unpick it and do it again. So I didn't want to do that because it's quite a fine gauge. I think it was like 28 stitches. I think the steeking worked perfectly. Why not? I don't know why more people don't do this. I'm so happy with the result. Here are my leftover bits that I cut out. So this is the 2 side seams. You can see this yarn is quite toothy. It hasn't moved at all. It's been sitting on my desk for a week, but it hasn't moved at all. It's quite toothy. And then here's some of the bits that I cut from the yoke. 2 of the yokes I didn't remove excess and 2 I did. I wish I had removed the excess from all of them because it's quite bulky. But still, it's still slightly oversized. It still looks circular. You can't tell. Do you want to see the inside? I'll turn the inside out for you. Okay. There we go. I've turned the inside out for you. So you can see right here, that's the stick where I open up the seam and then sew down the 2 sides. And again here. In the back, I trimmed it a little bit. I really should have trimmed the front as well. But in the back, I trimmed it, so it's a little bit less fabric here. But still bulky. It doesn't really matter. Kit Couture came with this cute little label too. How good is that? I really like their things. I should buy more of them. So I removed quite a bit of fabric. You can see here, maybe 4.5 centimeters right there. But still from the outside, it looks circular. So I'm super happy. On the side seam, you can see this is where I cut it off and sticked it as well. I cannot be more happy. I'm not going to try it on today for you because it is 32 degrees right now and I am sweating. However, if you are inspired by what I did, please go for it and let me know how you go. It wasn't very hard. It was a bit scary to start with, and in hindsight, I really should have known to line up the stick to the armhole instead of wasting a lot of time going back and forth. But lesson learned. Don't know if I'll ever do it again, but it can be done. It can be done. Now, while I'm here, because again, I don't know how many podcasts I'll be making. I've got a great job now, so that's what I'm excited about, and most of my time is spent on working. But while I'm here, I'm going to show you my 2 FOs that I couldn't show you last week because the patterns weren't released yet. The first one is the Proso. Okay, I'll put it on here. This is the Proso jumper by Marzena Kolaczek. It is absolutely gorgeous. She has just released it. It is a top-down construction with this really simple 3-stitch pattern all throughout. It's a beautiful V-neck. So fun to knit, and I had a great time testing it as usual because I love Marzena's patterns. The yarn I use is a woollyyarn.com yarn, of course. It was heavy DK, and it had alpaca, mohair, silk, sequins, and I think a little bit of wool. The color is called Peach Malva, and I love it. It is way too hot to wear now, but I'm going to Queenstown, New Zealand in 2 weeks, so I think I'll wear this there because it is still cold there. And the other FO I couldn't show you last week is the Checkered sweater by Norah Gaughan. I'll insert a photo of it here. I don't have it with me because the design of the jumper is supposed to have a little bit of positive ease. But when I put it on, I felt it was too loose for me. I don't wear a lot of positive ease garments, and Mum loved it. So she came home and just stole it straight away, and she's taken it to Europe with her. So currently the Checkered sweater is in Europe with Mum, having a great time traveling around Europe. And I'm putting another photo of her here in Paris. The pattern is by Norah Gaughan. It is a DK weight jumper, lots of cables. You knit in the round from the bottom up to the armhole, and then you separate and knit front and back. Join the shoulders and then pick up sleeves and knit down to the hem. I used a Rowan Alpaca Soft DK. It was supposed to have a much higher neckline, but I ran out of yarn. So I used up all of my 400 grams and that's what I got, which is fine because Mum and I, we don't really wear high neck anyway. It's just too hot here. So yeah, but otherwise I love it. I love the cable pattern. It was very interesting to knit. Norah's very clever, of course. She's one of my favorite designers and I had a great time making it. And then she generously gave me a couple of patterns in return, which I will be making very soon. And yeah, so please go and check out Marzena, Kolaczek, and Norah Gaughan's new patterns. What am I working on? I'm currently working on quite a few more things. So I've had this yarn for a long time. I'm just going to move it over here a little bit. I've had this yarn for a long time. It is Pure Cashmere by Rowan in this bright orangey red, which is one of my favorite colors. So, and I've always really wanted a little red cardigan. And I may have mentioned it in the last podcast. No, I think I mentioned it in my Instagram. I tried to self-draft a contiguous shoulder cardigan, but I got my math all wrong and I gave up. So I ended up buying a pattern which had pretty much exactly what I wanted and it's got the right gauge. So I just worked it off that one. All I changed was the ribbing. So I did a cute twisted stitch ribbing. So it's it's two stitches that are twisted and then a purl and then two stitches that are twisted every other row, which creates this beautiful kind of pattern. And I did it the same on the front with a integrated button band because there's no way I'm going to go back and pick up a button band. I'm that lazy. Here you go. There. So that looks great. I'm really happy. I've only got one sleeve to go. Everything else is done. Oh, I just lost my sleeve cord. That's okay because I'm going to work on it today now. I only had the one sleeve to go, but I got distracted because I signed up for a test knit for Magdalena Parker. Yeah, Knitogram. I think her Instagram's Knitogram. She's just released two hats. She hasn't released them yet. She's just designed two hats called the Fresco hat and the Bloomfield hat. And her designs are so elegant and simple. So I signed up to test knit her hats and it was a 4mm needle, same as my red cardigan. So I had to borrow that needle. This is the Fresco hat. I haven't put on Instagram yet because I wanted to finish both hats together. This is my Fresco hat, simple cable top down beanie, really cute. I haven't blocked it yet, but I think it's great. Yeah. So this is a woollyyarn.com alpaca that I used for my jumper, the Scanlan jumper a few videos ago, which I will link. This is a leftover. And the second hat, I'm using 2 strands of the Brooklyn Tweed Peary, which again, leftover. I bought quite a bit of white a while ago and I've been using it in little projects. So almost done with the brim, just a couple more centimeters for the brim and then I'm done. So this is very similar to this one. It's just a smaller cable pattern. Otherwise it's pretty much the same. Same DK weight yarn, top down increases with like a mitered head. So that's almost done as well. And I've got my cute pom-pom stitch marker there. So yeah, again, these are coming really handy for Queenstown and I love it. I think I'm going to buy a couple more of her patterns because she's got some really beautiful stuff there and she's already inspired me to make so many more things. Now, the last thing I have been working on is my love letter top. Here you go. This is the back and this is the front. Yeah. It looks like a little crinkly thing at the moment. That's inside out. That's the back. Looks like a crinkly thing at the moment because I'm using 2 strands of linen and I think it'll wash out really nicely, but right now it doesn't really look like anything. 2 strands of linen to make lace and cables is so hard on the hand. That's why this is taking forever. I can only knit a little bit and I have to put it back down. this was supposed to be the project I took to Vietnam with me, because I was supposed to go to Vietnam last week. I'm supposed to be in Vietnam right now. No, I should be flying back right now. But I didn't go because I contracted whooping cough. Very annoyed. I am still working with the insurance and the airlines to try and get as much of my hotel fees and flights back as possible. But yes, I got a firm diagnosis for whooping cough the day before I was supposed to go to Vietnam, so I didn't get to go. My friends went and I think they had a great time. But it's just as well because I just started this new job. I'm a bit of a spreadsheet dork, so I've put in quite a few new systems and processes and spreadsheets for this new role I'm in, and yeah, it's ticking all of my boxes right now. I mainly work from home and I'm just going to have meetings, team meetings if required. It's fully flexible, and yeah, I'm really glad to be back at work again because I'm not a great homemaker. But otherwise, that's it for now. I'm pretty sure that's all my whips. Lastly, I forgot to mention the top I am wearing is a Devana top by Marzena Kolaczek. She released this early this year, and it's featured in the Lana magazine. I made this with 1 strand of knitting for olive silk. It was less than 100 grams, maybe 75 grams. And yeah, it's just really, it's perfect for today's weather because it's loose and it's cool and it's pretty. Make sure you check out Marzena's Ravelry page because she's got so many beautiful things. Yes, that is all my current whips. There is one more test knit that I haven't shown you yet because the pattern hasn't been released. So one day, keep an eye on my Instagram. I'll put it on there. And if I do another podcast in the next month or so, it will be featured on there. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. To close the episode today, I want to show you this new way I'm using. It's not a new way, everyone does it, but this is a new way I'm doing my ribbing on the hat to make sure it looks nice and tidy. Because before, my ribbing always, it looks very messy, the 1x1 ribbing, but this new method that I am doing has a beautiful ribbing. So I will just show you how I do it. Basically, it's just when you do the knit stitch, you would wrap the yarn on the wrong side.